Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. This is probably one of the hardest videos I've ever made in my life because of how honest it is. And I'm never lying in any of my videos, but the depth of your honesty and your willingness to expose certain things that have been kept private, which is very important. Privacy is more important nowadays than ever, but certain things in our lives should be shared because of how maybe it could benefit someone else and how perhaps it could be speaking to someone else's life in a way that could resonate and could help them reflect on maybe your journey and how it maybe could impact theirs in a way that would benefit them. So, my mom adopted me and my brother. Obviously, my parents adopted my brother and I from Korea long time ago in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. And my mom, before I even was born, was very sick, my adopted mother. And she had health issues. I don't know how far it stemmed back because, I mean, when I was younger, I really didn't ask those questions. But from my siblings who are a lot older than me, expressed, and my father told me that there was a point where they thought that she would die even before my brother was adopted. So, with that being said, she did eventually pass away. I was a senior in high school. I had just had my 18th birthday in July, and she passed away in October. And never in my life had I experienced that kind of pain. We all have different relationships, different family backgrounds and dynamics, but I was very blessed. I had a very good upbringing in a way that, makes me want to cry sometimes because holidays were warm, they were fun, they were busy, they were chaotic, they were loud, so much food, so much connection. I miss those days so much sometimes because life changes. And in good ways, but in other ways, not as good. So I had a very good and amazing mother. So good that when, she passed away, life pretty much stopped in a lot of ways. And if you've experienced grief, you know what I'm saying. I know it's weird, but like even now, I'm 49. I don't know what my last day is going to be. But like I look at my clothes, my shoes, and it reminds me of, the traumatic feeling of someone has passed away and you see all their things and how they're never going to use those things again. And so I think about that in my own life. But all of this to say, it was the day of her funeral, and it was a crazy day. I mean, it's so crazy how many emotions you feel on a day of a funeral. You have moments where you find the energy and the ability to laugh. Although I felt guilty, like, can I laugh? And you see all these people come around you that love you and want to be there for you, and just how overwhelming that feeling is that these people care so much, and that just blesses you. But it's an experience. But fast forward to that night after the funeral, I couldn't sleep. And I'm the youngest child in my family. You can't tell it now because, I'm 49, but obviously my siblings are older than me. But I got the couch. That was where I slept when all of the siblings were home and had their husbands and their families. I sat on the couch, or I slept on the couch, which was fine. I was used to it. And I was young back then, so my body can handle it. And I couldn't sleep. So I just was hurting so bad that I had the thought of, I don't think I can go on like this. I don't think I can handle life with this amount of pain. It's like my body was healthy, but this is where I tell people all the time, your mind, your body, your spirit, they're not separate entities. They're married. They are together. So with one thing suffers, all of it suffers. One thing thrives, all of those things can follow and thrive. But I had it in my mind that I would not continue life. So I went to the bathroom. I grew up in an old farmhouse. They demolished my house many years ago because it was a hazard now. And so I don't even have a family home anymore. But I went to the one bathroom we had. We had a powder room upstairs, just a sink and a toilet. And then downstairs we had their only bathtub in the whole house. So I went to that bathroom. I closed the door. You couldn't even lock the door. The door was so old. You could just shove it closed and you just let people know if the door is closed, you can't come in. And I sat by the register where it was warm. And I just kept thinking, like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I decided that I would take measures. And as I was contemplating the amount of courage it takes to do something like that, and I was trying to build it up, I had an encounter with God. And I had been raised in a Christian family, and I didn't have, a manifestation of, an angel. There weren't lights. It wasn't fireworks. Oftentimes our encounters with God are quiet moments. And I feel like that's how he speaks sometimes, is in our quiet moments. There is a verse in Psalms that says to be still and know that I am God. And that verse means so much beyond just the simplistic words used to express that you just need to just stop and let him speak and listen. And my 18-year-old self heard in my mind, it wasn't audible, it was in my mind, but it was a conversation, which was weird. I had never had an experience like that. I grew up in an evangelical free church, and, they talk about the fruits of the Holy Spirit, but it wasn't as poignant as if you go to a Pentecostal church or you go to a church that really vocalizes how you can use those gifts of the Holy Spirit. So I had this conversation, and pretty much it went like this: Natasha, you can end everything right now. You can do that. But then this is where it all ends. It literally ends right now. But in this fork in the road, if you decide to continue on, who knows what can be possible? But if you decide to stop here, you'll never know. You'll never know. And so I kept hearing that, like, if you stop here, you'll never know where your life could go, what things could happen, what things you could do, what things would be possible. So I'm here now. So you know what decision I made. I'm making this video because I hear a lot of people talking about having these thoughts, these same thoughts that I had. And maybe this video will make it to you. And I want to tell you, yeah, you can stop here if you want to. But if you have the courage to continue on and you decide to listen to that voice speaking to you, he loves you greatly. He has a plan for your life. And if you trust him, he'll take you places you never imagined you could go. I trusted him. I still trust him. And I've gotten to some incredible places because I decided to let my life continue, knowing that if I stopped there, I would never know. God bless you. He loves you. Don't forget that.